Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. There's been an intriguing stir in the NFL rumor mill that's catching a lot of eyes. It centers around a possible blockbuster move involving the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Word is circulating that the Dolphins are gearing up to significantly bolster their defense by potentially acquiring none other than Chris Jones from the Chiefs, a move that could drastically alter the defensive landscape for Miami. The rumor suggests that Miami could be sending some draft picks and JONNU Smith, their dynamic tight end, to Kansas City in exchange for Jones. This is the kind of trade that has fans and analysts buzzing given Chris Jones' reputation as a dominant force on the defensive line. Jones has been a key player for the Chiefs, known for his ability to disrupt offenses with his pass rushing prowess and run stopping skills. The possibility of him donning a Dolphins jersey would instantly elevate Miami's defensive front, giving them a feared presence in the middle of their defense. Meanwhile, JONNU Smith, although primarily an offensive weapon, could be part of the package that sweetens the deal, offering Kansas City some offensive firepower alongside the valuable draft capital Miami might be handing over. The idea that Miami is so eager to secure Jones speaks volumes about their ambitions to tighten up their defense. The Dolphins have been quietly building a strong team over the past seasons, but the defense has often been highlighted as an area needing improvement to compete with the league's elite offenses. Bringing in a player like Chris Jones could be the missing piece in Miami's defensive puzzle, particularly in the middle of the line where Jones excels at clogging running lanes and pressuring quarterbacks. Reports hint that Miami's front office sees Jones as a transformative figure who can elevate their defense from good to great. It's not just about Jones's individual talents, but also the leadership and experience he brings, having been a consistent Pro Bowler and a key figure in Kansas City's recent success. If this trade materializes, Miami's defensive line would become one of the most formidable in the league, potentially altering how opposing teams game plan against them. The rumor also suggests that Miami is willing to part ways with significant assets to get this deal done, which shows just how serious they are about building a championship contending team. This move could also impact Miami's defensive scheme, allowing their other defenders to thrive, with Jones drawing constant attention from offensive lines. On the flip side, the Chiefs would be acquiring JONNU Smith and some draft picks, which could be a strategic move on their part as well. JONNU Smith, while known for his blocking and receiving skills, would add versatility to the Chiefs' offensive arsenal. The addition of Smith might give Kansas City more options in their tight end position, opening up different play calling strategies that could keep defenses guessing. The draft picks involved are likely to be valuable assets for the Chiefs to continue their rebuilding or retooling process as they look to maintain their competitive edge in the AFC. Speculation is that Kansas City might be looking to balance their roster by gaining young talent through the draft and adding a proven offensive weapon like Smith. The Chiefs management might see this trade as a way to prepare for the future while still remaining competitive in the present. Of course, any trade involving a star like Chris Jones would involve complex negotiations, and this rumor underscores the delicate balancing act between immediate impact and long-term planning that both teams must consider. The Chiefs are unlikely to give up a player of Jones's caliber without significant compensation, so this proposed exchange highlights how highly the Dolphins value Jones. There's also talk about how this trade would impact Miami's defensive identity. Jones is known for his relentless motor, exceptional strength, and ability to cause havoc in the backfield. Adding him to Miami's defensive front could allow the Dolphins to implement more aggressive blitz packages and stifle opposing running games. Some insiders suggest that Miami's coaching staff has been lobbying heavily for an upgrade on the defensive line, with Jones being the top target. The trade talks allegedly heated up after a series of meetings between the Dolphins front office and Jones's representatives, which might indicate mutual interest. Miami fans have been clamoring for more star power on defense, and the potential addition of Jones would answer that call emphatically. Speculation even suggests that Miami's defensive coordinator is ready to revamp the defensive scheme to maximize Jones's talents, potentially shifting to a 43 alignment that emphasizes his penetration abilities. Meanwhile, Jones's presence would also help Miami's linebackers and secondary by reducing the amount of time they have to cover receivers and backs thanks to his disruptive style. All of this adds to the growing excitement around Miami's defense and the ripple effects that Jones could bring. While this trade rumor is still very much in the possible category, it has certainly generated a lot of buzz among NFL insiders and fans alike. Analysts are debating the merits of Miami giving up JONNU Smith, a player who has shown flashes of becoming a major offensive contributor and valuable draft picks for a defensive star. The argument is that this is a classic winnow move by the Dolphins, signaling that they believe their window for contention is open and they need to act decisively. Conversely, the Chiefs might be aiming for a more balanced approach, acquiring draft capital and a versatile tight end to address multiple needs across their roster. If the trade goes through, it could mark a significant power shift in the AFC East, with Miami becoming a tougher defensive team to beat. The timing of this rumor coincides with the NFL draft season, when picks are most valuable and teams are actively negotiating trades. As with all rumors, nothing is confirmed yet, but the fact that this one involves high-profile players and draft picks makes it one to watch closely. It's a narrative that's evolving quickly, and fans on both sides are eagerly waiting for more concrete news. Some speculate that the trade talks were sparked by Miami's need to shore up their defense after some key injuries and inconsistent performances last season. Adding a player like Chris Jones would be a bold statement that Miami is allen on competing for a Super Bowl title soon. The potential departure of JONNU Smith might leave a hole in Miami's offense, but the front office seems willing to sacrifice that to achieve defensive dominance. Rumors indicate that Miami's coaching staff might already be planning offensive adjustments to compensate for Smith's absence, possibly relying more on their wide receivers and other tight ends. Meanwhile, Chris Jones's transition to Miami might not be without challenges. Adapting to a new system and team culture could take some time. However, the general consensus is that Jones's skill set fits perfectly with Miami's defensive philosophy. The speculation also includes how this move could influence the Dolphins' salary cap and roster management, as Jones commands a significant contract. Miami's willingness to absorb this financial commitment might show their urgency to assemble a championship-caliber roster. The ripple effect of this rumor is already being felt throughout the league, with other teams monitoring the situation as closely. Industry insiders are also pointing out how this potential trade could shift the balance of power in the AFC. Miami's current defensive setup, while solid, lacks that elite pass rusher who can consistently pressure quarterbacks and disrupt offensive rhythm. Jones brings exactly that, with multiple seasons of double-digit sacks and numerous game-changing plays. The possibility of him anchoring Miami's defensive line has the potential to redefine the Dolphins' defensive strategy, making them a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. The Chiefs, on the other hand, may be looking at this as a calculated risk, giving up a defensive stalwart but gaining flexibility and depth in other areas. The rumor has sparked debate on NFL talk shows and podcasts, with some experts suggesting that Miami's gamble could pay off handsomely if Jones stays healthy and maintains his high level of play. Others caution that giving up draft picks and a young offensive talent like Smith might be too steep a price. The uncertainty adds an element of suspense to the story, making it one of the most talked about potential trades as a new season approaches. Still with us, then show some love, hit that like button, and let us know in the comments what's your take on the Fins this week. There's also speculation about how fans on both sides might react if this deal goes through. Miami fans would likely celebrate acquiring a player of Jones's caliber, seeing it as a major upgrade and a sign that their team is serious about contention. The excitement around the Dolphins' defense would spike, with social media already buzzing about what Jones could bring to their defense. Conversely, Chiefs fans might be divided. Some could feel the loss of Jones deeply, given his importance to the team's success, while others might appreciate the incoming draft picks and the addition of JONNU Smith, who could help the offense. Cultural impact on team dynamics is also something being discussed. Jones is known as a team leader, and his departure could leave a leadership gap in Kansas City's locker room. On the other hand, Miami's locker room could gain a powerful presence with Jones joining the ranks. The ripple effect on team morale and chemistry will be interesting to observe if the trade moves beyond the rumor stage. Overall fan engagement is at an all-time high with this possible trade becoming a major talking point across NFL communities. Meanwhile, insiders are hinting at behind-the-scenes negotiations that have been ongoing for weeks involving multiple phone calls, meetings, and even league office consultations. The complexity of trading a player of Jones's caliber means that both teams are carefully weighing their options, considering salary cap implications, draft pick valuations, and roster balance. Rumors also suggest that Miami might be pushing to complete this deal quickly, to integrate Jones into off-season workouts and training camp preparations. Kansas City, meanwhile, could be leveraging this trade to maximize their draft haul and build a team that can sustain success beyond the current season. The negotiations reportedly include contingency clauses related to Jones's health and performance, which are standard for high-profile trades, but add an extra layer of uncertainty. But see that the timing of the rumors so close to key NFL events like the draft and free agency indicates that this potential trade is a priority for both franchises. It's a fascinating chess match unfolding behind the scenes, with the football world watching closely to see which way it tips. If this trade rumor comes to fruition, it might also impact other teams in the AFC East and across the league. Miami's rivals will have to contend with a newly fortified defensive line, forcing them to rethink their offensive strategies. Teams like the New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills, and New York Jets could find themselves facing a more aggressive Miami defense that can pressure quarterbacks and stop the run more effectively. This could potentially shift the power dynamics in the division, making Miami a tougher opponent than before. Across the league, defensive-minded teams might be watching closely, considering whether they can make similar moves to keep pace. The ripple effect on the free agent market and future draft trades might be significant as teams scramble to respond. The anticipation around this rumor has NFL insiders speculating about a new era for the Dolphins, possibly one where their defense becomes the cornerstone of a Super Bowl run. Of course, all of this remains speculative until the trade is officially announced, but the buzz is undeniable and growing stronger every day. In conclusion, the rumor of the Miami Dolphins pursuing Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs in exchange for JONNU Smith and draft picks is one of the most captivating storylines emerging in the NFL offseason chatter. It embodies the high-stakes maneuvering that teams engage in as they prepare for the upcoming season, balancing present needs with future potential. If this deal happens, Miami could drastically improve their defense by adding a dominant force in the middle of the line, potentially shifting their competitive status within the AFC East and the league overall. Meanwhile, the Chiefs would gain valuable draft capital and a versatile offensive player in Smith, suggesting a strategic move to retool their roster. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are watching this rumor closely, weighing its implications and imagining the scenarios it could create on the field. The NFL offseason is never dull, and this particular possibility is fueling debate, speculation, and excitement across social media and sports media platforms. Whether it ends up being a trade or just a fascinating what if, it's a storyline that highlights how much strategy and drama underpin the world of professional football. As always, only time will tell if the Dolphins truly manage to close the middle of their defense with a game-changing acquisition like Chris Jones. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.